Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode on the show. You guys know I always bring top guests to my show. It's another beautiful day on Hidden Secrets in Books, and our guest for today is Tara Mae Temple. Tara, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dominic. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, I would like you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Yes, of course. I'm the author of the recent self-help book called Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony. And I wrote this as a guidebook to help people navigate life's challenges because I know that I went through a healing journey for quite some time. And my whole mission here is to help people achieve inner peace.
All right, thank you so much. So, to add a little bit to that introduction, she's the author of Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony, a passionate advocate for mental and emotional wellness. After overcoming social anxiety and identity crisis and years of inner struggle, Sarah transformed her life through evidence based healing practices, faith, and self discovery. Today, she helps others find lasting peace, resilience, and the courage to embrace their authentic selves. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, so what inspired you to write Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony? And what was the turning point in your own healing journey?
Yeah, this is a great question. It actually, what inspired me was basically I knew that life is hard and life doesn't come with a manual, and people have to learn through lived experience. And for me, I was going through very tough times mentally and emotionally. Um, and I wanted to find a way to basically purify my toxic emotions and very difficult things I was going through. And how I started the process of my healing journey was I began writing in a journal about stories and different challenges that I went through in my life, whether that be anxiety, grief, identity crisis, loss, and going through fear and self image struggles as well, and much more things like dealing with our shadow self. And as I journaled all those things, I talked about my emotions and the hardship that I went through. But I also have a background in sociology where I studied human behavior when I was in university. So, what I did with this whole process of healing is I wanted to research what would help us overcome these struggles and help me have a bit more inner peace in my life. And I knew I wanted to spread this teaching and messages to others to help them have more healing and peace in their lives. So what I did is I did some deep research into some books myself, a lot of self-help books about self-actualization and inner peace. And I listened to podcasts and other people's stories. And then I started just writing about different harmony strategies that I could use in my life and began applying those in my daily life as peace practices. So, this journaling practice turned into a book, and I not only talked about my experiences, but messages and strategies of ways to help people in their lives to integrate these very simple, easy to follow harmony strategies.
How can you say this journey has been so far for you in terms of how fulfilling it is?
Yes, I love that question, Dominic. Thank you for asking that. Basically, this has been my passion project, and I know that it's really helped me shift my pain into purpose. Because sometimes when we're stuck in life struggles and we have our mind focused on problems that we're dealing with and we don't know how to solve them, sometimes those problems and issues can expand when we focus on them too much. But when 5, 6 years ago, when I began writing this book and began going on a healing journey, this really transformed my way of seeing the world and seeing people. I used to be very pessimistic and did not have trust in other people, and thought the world was all cold. So I had a very cold outlook on life. But as I went through this healing journey, I discovered that, everyone goes through universal themes and challenges in their lives. And I began to see people through a lens of love and compassion, and started changing my mindset about how I saw the world and people, and then began treating myself with more love and treating others with more kindness and love as well. And that was a big game changer for me when I began to transform the way I thought of the world. I began to change my thoughts, and that really was a big changer for changing my life and transforming the way I began to grow in my life as well. So it's something I don't like to keep to myself. I like to share my wisdom and lived experience with others so that they can be relieved of their suffering as well. And it's not, when I talk about things in my book, the life hacks are very easy to follow. Um, and they're, it's as simple as starting with um, breathing practices, or connecting with nature again and getting out for a walk in nature at least 3 times a week, 20 minutes a day to start. And they're all easy things that you can access on your day to day. And it's something that's out there for you. The resources I put in this book is to help you and all your listeners to find that bit of peace and joy, and amidst all the noise and chaos that is happening around us in the world. I just want you all to know that you have peace within and you can access it.
Okay. You write about the monster within. What does that mean, and how can people overcome fear-based thinking and destructive habits?
Okay. Um, oh, the monster within. That's right. I love that one, because all of us have a shadow self and a dark side, right? Um, and when we realize that, we're not going to be perfect, we're going to make mistakes. We all have a dark side, but I think it's there to serve a purpose to teach us lessons in our lives. And, each one of us, we're only human. We can, in our interactions with others, it's not always going to be peaceful. There are going to be disagreements, or people can be in conflict. But what I like to share with people is, when you are in a state of conflict or in the midst of an argument with someone, or somebody says an offensive comment to you and it's triggering you, I want you to try and experiment next time this happens to you, and kind of pause, give yourself a little pinch on your hand to create a pattern interrupt in your brain. And if the person that you're dealing with is very hard to deal with, or you're not sure how to respond, instead of being reactive and getting in an argument, I advise you to maybe try walking away from the room for a couple minutes and say, we'll talk about this once we're both calm, and, go into another room and say prayer. Or what really helps is just going on a walk around the block for a little while, and just centering and grounding yourself and helping yourself to feel calm again. And what that does is it puts you in a state of calm where you're able to um, think about what your response needs to be to this person, to help calm things down. And maybe in that way, you can come to an agreement on something. So I like to practice that a lot more in my life, even though sometimes it could be difficult. Everyone is triggered by something, and, people could say things that could upset us, or make us angry. But what I want people to know is that you need to have grace and compassion for yourself. And there's a way to pause and not have to deal with, a situation that could be very confrontational with the other person. My best advice is to use that harmony strategy of pausing and walking away, and saying, we'll revisit this later, and go on your walk and collect your thoughts. And it doesn't have to even be that same day that you confront the person that you were dealing with. It could be when you're ready the following day. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend that because sometimes we can react in ways that could sometimes destroy our relationships in a certain way, and we don't want to destroy our relationships. We want to find a way to cultivate them in better ways. So I want you all to know that, you know, we all have shadow selves and we're going to make mistakes, and you're not alone in that journey. I've been there before in your shoes, and I want you to know that you have the power to walk away when need be and be the higher version of yourself.
How can someone begin replacing self criticism with self compassion and healthier thinking?
Yes, that's a great question. I like to emphasize self compassion a lot because a lot of us carry these negative thought patterns and these inner self dialogues that could be self sabotaging and, you know, not kind. Or the way we talk to ourselves in our own minds isn't the way we would want to talk to, you know, our closest family member. So I want people to put themselves in a place of love. And, you know, the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. So why not love the body you're in and love the mind you're in, and give yourself kindness by overriding those negative thoughts and replacing them with positive thought. So what I like to talk about is, like, for the longest time, the negative story and thought I thought about myself for the many decades was that nobody likes me. So in the book, I come up with a method called negative thought cancellation. And how that works is, say I catch myself thinking, oh, nobody likes me again. What I do is I pinch my hand. That creates a pattern interrupt. And then I picture a heart balloon eating up the words, nobody likes me. And the heart balloon's getting bigger. And if you're not a visual person, you can picture replacement words overwriting the bad story that you're telling yourself. So instead of the thought, nobody likes me, you can picture, I am loved, or I am kind and well loved by others. So you would say that on a loop 5 to 10 times to yourself. You can even write down that very positive statement 5 to 10 times. And anytime you get that negative phrase or a negative self talk coming up again, I want you to try replacing that thought with your more positive thought, and then do this consistently. And what that does is that reprograms your mind and your subconscious mind to start having compassion for yourself and creating a new story and narrative about yourself, where you can have some space for love and self compassion, because it all starts with, you know, the blessings start to flow into our lives and goodness starts to flow in once we start treating ourselves with more kindness. And I know that that's definitely worked for me. I was someone that had low self-esteem and low self-confidence for so long. Um, Really convincing myself that nobody liked me, but that was just a belief that I made up in my own mind, because of all the different struggles I went through in my life when I went through bullying in grade school, and just being a shy person in general. I began to release all of these labels I had about myself, and then practiced saying good things about myself, as I would, you know, think we all perceive our friends and our family in in a positive light. And I want to challenge people to start to see themselves through a lens of love.
How can your book complement professional mental health care? It's encouraging people to seek help when they need it.
Yes, I love that because basically it's still important for people's mental health and emotional well being to seek professional care where they can. But what I recognize in writing this book is that not everyone has the financial means to enlist the help of a professional therapist to do talk therapy with, or find a counselor that will help mentor and guide them through life's challenges. So, what I love about this book is that there's writing exercises and messages to help you process all the difficult things that you're going through in your life, whether that be grief, loss, self image struggles, identity crisis, fear, self limiting beliefs, having distorted thinking, anxiety, and just maybe you're feeling lost and wondering what your purpose is. And what this book does is, I, I start off with the story, and many of the stories I talk about deal with universal themes that all of us humans deal with. And then I go into just simple strategies that you could start to implement into your life. And it's not a one size fits all, but you pick what works for you, and then you begin applying these things and consistently practicing on a day-to-day basis. And there's also a spiritual component to this, where I talk about God and the divine and a higher being, for people to have trust in that and strengthen their spirituality, because that will truly help you bring in and manifest all the things that you want in your life, and bringing some abundance and help you release the fears that you may have. So it's a practical guide, and it's the guidebook I wish I had 10 years ago to help me through my struggles. And it's affordable. It's not, people that are on a budget or financial limitations. The book is affordable for you, and the writing uh, exercises in there and the journaling pages will really help you to process your emotions and purify and cleanse any toxic emotions that you're carrying, and really take the weight off your shoulders of any wounds that you've been holding for your lifetime, and really just open up this whole new pathway for you to heal in your life. And then you'll notice, as you go through these exercises and start implementing the peace practices, that you'll start to see more goodness and positivity flow into your life, and you feel lighter. You'll notice you'll begin to experience more joy and peace, and you'll have more room to love others and yourself.
All right, so why is it important to combine personal experience with evidence-based practices like mindfulness, journaling, and nature therapy?
Yes, I think it's so important to combine lived experience with these practical strategies of integrating peace rituals into your life. Because if we're just going to live life dealing with our struggles and not learning how to overcome them, we're going to remain stuck in our old patterns. And this is how generational trauma um, begins seeping through the generations. And some of us feel like we remain stuck and we're dealing with some of the same struggles that our ancestors have dealt with. And I really want that for others to have a peace within themselves, peace within their family systems, and peace in their relationships and friendships with others. So it's very important that we learn how to cleanse and purify our mind, body, spirits by getting into nature and seeing the beauty that the universe and God has to offer us in our day to day. We can remain stuck in various traumas and difficult hardships that we've dealt with in our day to day lives. But when you get out and convene and connect with nature again, that brings a whole sense of healing to your mind, body, spirit, and emotions. So I encourage you to get out there and do that. And in terms of a mindfulness practice, if you're going out for a walk every day, I encourage you to try and use this affirmation and mantra. And studies have shown that walking and saying this mantra on a loop have really had a significant effect in lowering stress levels and helping people with various anxiety, depression disorders, and other health conditions. So I want you, next time you're out for a walk, I want you to say this mantra: May I be healthy, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. And keep saying that on a loop 5 or more times, and notice the sounds, sights, smells, and what you feel around you as you're walking. And that has really been a game changer for me, because what that does is it gets you out of your mind ruminating over negative thoughts, and you're able to remain grounded in the present moment and just really enjoy what you're doing in the present moment. And because all we can ever do in the present moment is, control what's happening while we're in that mindfulness state. And that's why they call the present a gift, right? It's a gift to yourself to be able to, you know, have a little bit of peace and bliss in your life by practicing that mindfulness ritual. So I highly recommend it. It's helped me a lot with my anxiety and stress levels, and it's helped. Numerous studies around the world have shown that this has had a really positive benefit for people's health in mind, body, spirit.
Thank you for sharing your
Yes.
powerful theory and practical wisdom. The message reminds us that healing is possible, hope is real, and even small daily steps can lead to lasting transformation. So, to everyone listening, be sure to check out Tara Mae Temple's book, Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony. So, Tara, for those who would like to connect with you and may not know how to get your book, how can they do that?
Yes, I love that question. Well, the book is available on Amazon, but you can also go to your local big bookstore and give them my name, Tara Mae Temple, and it's spelled Tara, and then the second name is Mae, and then Temple spelled Temple, and then give them the title of the book, Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony, and they'll order it for you. And I promise you that the tools are powerful and they're there for you to help you reach your greatest potential. And you can reach me on www.terrasweetawakening.com. And if you need daily inspiration, I'm also on Instagram at Tara Mae Temple and on Facebook.
Okay. It has been a pleasure listening to you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I wish you and your listeners peace and a great summer. And